Hi, I'm George Osborne and I'm at the App Promotion Summit Berlin, and I've been joined by Lele from Lovoo and Roland from 360 Dialogue. Hi guys, thanks very much for joining us.
Happy to be here.
So, I guess the question that many people who are watching this will be asking is, why are you both here together? What is it that you two are working on together that means that you're both sat here?
Thank you for the question. As I presented on the stage, I was saying we started doing remarketing for a massive user base. And as explained, that remarketing is kind of a complicated process. There's a lot of networks involved, there's a lot of technicalities involved. For this particular journey, we'll be using, let's say, the services of 360 Dialogue completely. They're doing for us, managing the DSPs that we're working with, managing the social network where we do remarketing, let's say the whole package completely. And maybe Roland can explain you how they do it, how exactly do we do their different channels, so on and so forth.
Yeah, exactly. So how exactly does it work then?
Yeah, so I mean, not many people might know 360 Dialogue. So we're an app marketing automation platform which focuses on the complete life cycle, and we integrate dialogue channels together with media channels like the mobile display and the social. And how do we do it? So first of all, we're connected to the data stream, both of the backend of Lovoo and of Adjust. And there we create the segments which Lele highlighted earlier. So obviously we are live in 8 countries, we have 2 genders, we have payers and non-payers, and we have short, medium and long-term
86, 88 audiences, it's kind of much.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of audiences. I mean, so how exactly do people keep track of all of these audiences with your platform? Because, I mean, obviously you're using it, but I'm guessing you want to see how it's performing and how it's doing. Exactly.
So, I mean, we're very early stage at remarketing, you must say. A lot of the programs we need to whitelist Lovoo to take part. So like on Google, Facebook's also fairly new, and the whole tracking and re-attribution with Adjust and others, it's just coming together. So it's very early stage, and depending on the channel you have different tracking mechanisms. And in this first phase, where we basically just went out and brought all these segments live and set up the campaigns, we also looked at how can we integrate all of the different tracking, because what Twitter reports and what Facebook reports and then what the DSP reports is very often similar wordings, but the KPIs don't come together. So that's really in the first phase, also looking at who's talking about what and how can you make this comparable.
Yeah, so I mean that's really interesting, talking especially about 88 audiences and things like that. I mean, when it's come around to Lovoo and expanding and trying to add new audiences and things like that, how do you go about selecting maybe new areas to go into, and how do you then integrate that into the stuff that you're doing with 360 Dialogue?
For us, the most important thing is definitely geo. So when do we want to acquire new users? Now we fixed on these 8 markets for the moment. We might probably grow into new markets. There are, for us, not really different situations right now. We're in Germany, Austria and Switzerland, we're fairly big. So for us now it's extremely important to get a user back. For other countries, we still have some possibilities to grow. We go and, let's say, do user acquisition on all the channels. It doesn't matter what. And we try to use the same approach to remarketing, and it's the same amount of channel and probably with a much more complexity. So let's say we can do something internally, and there's something that you have to do with this completely managed services. And all these things coming together, the different platforms, the different countries, let's say planning the user acquisition together with remarketing, because of course all the users that are lapsing must be acquired, how many in which market. That was definitely the biggest hurdle, the most complicated thing. Is again, we would love to grow a lot more, and we would love to retain our users, especially the paid one, especially the active one, more and more.
Exactly, and I think that's the objective. You know, that's what everyone's aiming towards. But you know, as you've said there, really difficult. New market, new options for acquisitions. You've got to learn that market and all of these different routes available. So I guess there's sort of one last question. If someone's thinking about getting this automation service involved with their app marketing, you know, when's the ideal moment for this to jump in? I mean, when you're starting out, you're presumably looking maybe at a handful of territories and a handful of acquisition channels, so maybe you're able to manage that yourself. But at what point do you reckon it becomes pretty important for you to go ahead and get some automation to help you out?
I think Lele pointed it out. You need to have a certain critical mass also to go out, so it makes sense to retarget and reactivate your lapsed users. But effectively, I think so many people were focused on acquisition the last years, and we might have started slightly too late to actually look at what the holes are in the barrel, as Lele put that out earlier. So I think it's very important to understand why people leave your business model and how you can kind of, keep up that dialogue. That's where we come in. Right now, all the big media companies make it very easy to spend another bit of money. So Facebook, of course, wants you to spend, let's say another euro to bring that user back. But where we feel it's important that you integrate always your dialogue channel. You have this opt-in to send push, you have this opt-in to send an email, and when you keep up that dialogue and you keep your user by means of your dialogue channels, you might pay like a cent versus a euro on the media company. But coming to your question, I think as soon as you have a big enough user base and you see that those people drop off, it's important to start engaging and re-engaging your users and starting this learning cycle for yourself.
Okay, that's really, really useful and that's really, really useful and interesting stuff. Thanks very much for joining us.